This is a tutorial for my arrangement of the Ash Grove. If you're looking for the playthrough, you can find a link for that in the description. As we work through this, make sure you pay attention to the chords written above the music to help find good fingerings. We begin with this pickup note, this open G, 3rd string. And first full measure, we have a partial C chord. We have C on the 5th string, 3rd finger, an open G, and this C on the 2nd string with the 1st finger. Make sure you keep the low notes ringing throughout this measure as you're playing the melody. That means you're going to keep your 3rd finger down on that C the whole time. So the melody is played with 1st finger, then open, and then 4th finger, and then 1. Next measure, same thing. We're playing a low C and a G. Keep that 3rd finger down. Keep it ringing. As you play your melody note, that's going to be open E, and then finger 1. Next measure is based on a D minor chord. I'm playing this as an open string D, and then 2nd finger on this A, and I'm using my 4th finger on this D melody note. And again, sound like a broken record, but you want to keep those 2 low notes ringing, which means 2nd finger has to stay down the whole time. So keep those 2 notes down, the D and the A, and on top of that you play this melody note D with 4th finger, and then 1, open, 4, and then finger 1 on the C, and then a partial G chord. So the melody there is just 2 open strings, B, G, G, and as I've been saying, you want to keep that bass note down, keep that 3rd finger down on a low G. Next measure, we have a C chord with the melody on the 2nd string. This time, we are going to mute on beat 2. So after you play the chord, right before beat 2, go ahead and mute that chord with your thumb. And then you're going to play this melody, just single notes, E, open, then D, C, B. So again, that's the chord, mute, and then this F chord is a modified F chord. 1st finger on the low F, going to keep that 1st finger down, keep it ringing through the whole measure, and this A melody note with 2nd finger, and this F melody note with 4th finger. That's a little awkward, but it's not too terrible. And then we have a C chord. First, the melody is just on the 3rd string, but go ahead and put your 1st finger down from the C chord because you need it on beat 2 for this melody note here. Then a G chord with melody on string 2, and then a C chord again with melody on string 2. Watch out for these staccatos. We have a staccato above this C on beat 2, and we have staccatos with this G chord. That means instead of letting those notes ring, we want to make those notes short. So mute those notes right away. I'm going to go back and play those first 8 measures slowly. So keep the bass notes ringing. Get ready to mute here. Fingering, finger 4 here. Staccato's coming up. Then we have that 1 G note at the end of this measure. And then we have a repeat sign, which means we go back to the first measure. In this case, we play those first 8 measures twice, and then we move on to measure 9. That's where we're going to pick it up. Notice in measure 9, it gets a little bit busier. We're going to be picking some notes in between the melody notes. At the beginning of measure 9, we see we have a low C, 3rd finger. That's tied into the next measure. So even while you're doing some busy stuff with your melody, keep the 3rd finger down so that C rings through both of those measures. Now our melody on top of that, we have a 1st finger on the C, and then you're going to be picking G's in between your melody notes. This 3rd string open G. Open a note for your melody, and then 4th finger, 1st finger, Next measure, this G7 over B, I like to put all my fingers down at once that I need. That's going to be finger 2 on your bass, and then finger 4 on this D melody note. And on beat 2, you're going to need your first finger on this F at the first fret, so might as well put that down. Notice this low B, you are also holding this through 2 measures, so while you're playing your melody and all those in-between notes, keep that second finger down. So I haven't had to move a left-hand finger yet because I put all my fingers down at once. And now next measure, I do have to lift my first finger to play that open E, and my fourth finger's already on this D melody note. Next measure, we have a partial A minor chord. It's not the full A minor, it's just a little bit of it. So I'm using fingers 1 and 2 for these first 2 melody notes. 1 on the C, 2 on the A, and then we have a low A as a bass note, and that's tied through this measure and the next measure. So try to keep that ringing. And I'm going to keep finger 1 and 2 down through both of these measures, and you'll see why. So we have finger 1, and now we're picking these A's between melody notes. So that's why we're keeping our second finger down. Then an open melody note, E, and then D. And the reason I'm keeping my first finger down is because now on this C right here, I can just lift my pinky. My first finger's already down. Next measure, I like to finger with 3 on the low G, then an open G on the 3rd string, and then 4th finger on this D melody note. And then I just pick up my 4th finger and put it on the G for this melody note on beat 2. And next, essentially, we just have a D chord back to a G chord. We have some staccatos here as well. Above this G, we have a staccato, which means we play that note short. We don't let it ring. We just mute it right away. Same with this D chord. Mute that right away. So staccato, staccato, and then G chord. I'm going to go back to measure 9 and just play through these last 8 measures we looked at. Keep your 3rd finger down. All fingers at once here. Just finger 1 and 2 for the A minor. Watch out for the staccatos. At the end of that measure, we just have a 3rd string open G for a melody note. And then we're on to measure 17. Now measure 17 through measure 24, it's the same as measures 1 through 8. So we can skip right on ahead to pick up to measure 25. We're actually going to start at the end of measure 24, that last note for this low G pickup. So I like to play that with 3rd finger. And then we're moving on to measure 25. At measure 25, the bass is now playing the melody. So that's what you want to bring out. And the upper voice is playing some harmony notes. Measure 25 is based on a C chord, although I'm not placing all the notes down at once, but that's generally where my fingers are going. My upper voice is just playing an E, open E. My bass, which is also my melody, is finger 3 on the C, finger 2 on the E. So that's... And then some double stops. We have 2 open strings, and finger 3 and 4. Next measure, bass, which is the melody, is playing finger 2 and 3, 3. On top of that, first finger should be holding down that C through the entire measure. So even though your other fingers are changing to play the melody notes, keep your first finger down so that higher note rings. Same in the next measure, keep your first finger down while you play this moving bass note, this bass melody, which is going to be open string, and then 3, 2. Some more double stops here. We have a D and an F, so that's open and 1. Then finger 3 and open. And then finger 2 and 4. Now, finger 4 I'm going to keep down through this entire measure while the bass moves to finger 2, 3, 3. Then a longer series of double stops here. So finger 3 and open, 2 and 4, open and 1, 3 and open, 2 and 4. Next measure, watch out for this fingering. So I want to hold down this C in the upper voice throughout while the bass is playing an A and an F and an A down low. So because we are keeping that first finger down, it makes this next F a little awkward to play. Normally that would be first finger, but in this case, what I'd like you to do is turn your wrist a little bit so you can reach that low F with your second finger. And then back to the low A. And then next measure, hold down the C with your first finger while your bass melody plays low G, third finger, C with third finger, and then finger 2 and 4, and then octave Cs with finger 3 and 1. And again, we have some staccatos here. We have a staccato with this C, and staccato with this B and the D, this double stop here. So cut those notes short. And this low G at the end of the first ending takes us back to this repeat at measure 25, and we do all that again. I am going to go back to measure 25 now and play all that. I'm actually going to go pick up to measure 25, which is the last beat of 24. Keep first finger down. Keep first finger down here. Keep fourth finger down. Now keep first finger down. Reach with second finger for the low F. Watch out for the staccatos here. Then we have the low G, which takes us back to the beginning of this section, measure 25. So yes, we do have another repeated section. We play from measure 25 to 32. There's a repeat there with the first and second ending. So we jump back to measure 25. Second time through, we skip the first ending, jump to the second ending. And then we're at measure 34, and good news, measure 34 to the end is the same as measures 9 through 24. Don't forget, if you're looking for the playthrough of this, you can find a link for that in the description, along with a link to the PDF if you would like to buy it. And for more guitar lessons, music theory, and solo guitar arrangements, please subscribe.